Welcome back to another episode of Thinking Out Loud. Yes, we have changed the name of the podcast because this is literally what I'm doing every single time I come on here. I am thinking out loud. So it is only appropriate that we rename it as such. And it just happened so yesterday I was listening to my parents. I was gonna say talking, but they were bickering. Long story short, just to give some context, my mom bought a gas heater and they thought it had some parts missing. So my mom said, my God, there is always something happening. Basically, if you're Maltese, you will know this, of course. It just says, "Dem Madonna dem shahaja." And it reminded me of the Matthew effect, which is the quote from the Bible. It's the verse Matthew 25-29, by the way. And I will quote the quote because I don't want to butcher it. But for to everyone who has, more will be given, and he will have abundance. But from him who does not have, even what he has will be taken away. And basically, this is the concept of how the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. A lot of people who do not understand this, they will be like, oh, it's unfair. This is actually what I grew up listening to. And now I understand it. But back then I didn't. But it's just literally, when I said the Matthew effect, basically what it means is that the advantages, they will compound for the fortunate, whereas the disadvantages, they will compound for the disadvantaged ones. If you think about it, it makes so much sense. When by the rich people and poor people, either one, they believe that's all they can get, unless of course exposed otherwise, because we know cases where someone who lived in poor situations, they went on to become millionaires. But it's of course because they did not stay in this mindset of rich get richer, poor get poorer. But for the sake of it, let's use that mindset. Either one, they believe they deserve what they have, and they don't know any different. Their thinking is wired either for abundance or for success, and so is yours. Your reality does not respond to what you want. Your reality only responds to what you believe and what you believe you deserve. Like, I'll use an everyday example. Let's just say you're very stressed on a day to day, but you crave the soft life, the simple, relaxed life. But on a day-to-day, you're always stressed. You want to be calm, but you leave no time in the day to be calm. You're constantly running around and you believe that is the way life is. Do you really think that you're gonna get the soft life? For you to be living in the soft life, you need to be vibrating on a frequency of up here. So where there is gratitude, calmness, I will put it somewhere here, the chart of vibration. But on a day-to-day, you're living down here where you're constantly stressed, you're angry, you're hating on life, you're hating on people. Can you see the huge discrepancy between of your desired life, the life that you want, versus the life that you're living? Unless you cut out this discrepancy, you will not get here if you are living down here. As per the law of attraction, you need to be already living this life in one way or another by at least feeling it in order to get there. Because then if you operate on this frequency and your ideal life is on this frequency, you are matching the frequencies, and then of course your reality will match that. And please do not tell me that, oh, it's hard to act, it's hard to imagine living the ideal life. You are acting every single freaking night before you go to sleep, because you need to pretend that you are asleep before you actually fall asleep. So you know how to do it, you're just not doing it for what you want and what you should be doing it for. And second, I mentioned gratitude. Now, gratitude is the highest vibration that you can be operating on. Whatever you believe in, God, universe, spirit, whatever, insert source here, the way it's gonna work is, again, whatever you believe in is gonna be like, he or she is so grateful for what she has now, the little things. Imagine how much more grateful he or she would be if I was to give her more. Can you see how the advantages compound for the advantaged and the disadvantages, they compound for the disadvantaged? All you need to do is you need to match your frequency, and then your reality will align accordingly. Now, back to the rich get richer and the poor get poorer. It's all about what they know and what they're wired to believe, unless of course rewired, which is totally possible. But think about it. Even if you say you want more money, but you grew up believing that money is the root of all evil. Or, I'll give you another one. You want more success, but you believe that success equals isolation. Or you want a healthy, loving relationship, but based on your previous relationships, you believe that in a relationship you lose yourself, or even your career starts going down the drain when you are in a relationship. Make it make sense that just because you want more success, you want more success, you're gonna get more success. If, for example, when growing up, you remember one parent always coming home late from their work, the other parent always complaining because the other parent is coming home late, then you're always walking in on them or hearing them arguing because of work and staying late at work, potentially even leading to divorce. You grew up watching that, but then you want more success. How can you get more success and then eventually more money if you believe that success equals loneliness, equals isolation, equals arguments? Your subconscious will always work in ways to keep you safe. Now, of course, isolation equals unsafe. So no matter how well you're doing in your job, you will always operate in ways where you will self-sabotage your own success for the sake of not ending up on your own or not ending up in a failed relationship. Now, you might be saying, am I doomed for life with this? Now, only if you decide that it's the way that it needs to be. You believing something, let's keep with this example, that success equals isolation, equals arguments, equals, being on your own, whether that was passed on to you automatically because that is what you saw, or whether it's something you heard someone say growing up, you made the decision to take that on. All you need to do is you need to take a decision to believe otherwise. And now you're probably sitting there and thinking, how the hell am I gonna do that? It is literally one decision. Your mind wants you to think it is so freaking complex that you can't do it. And I was on a client call, we're rewiring one of her beliefs. I literally told her this. I said, you just need to decide otherwise. And she just looked at me as if like, it's not that simple. And I said, your brain just wants you to think it is so complex that you can't do it. Of course, I gave her a method of how to get into the state in order to rewire that belief. And it's not a one-time process. You just need to keep doing it. But she was shocked at how simple it is. In order for you to rewire this broad belief, is you need to go back. So pick a belief that you want to work on, you want to change. You need to go back to the core memory that started this belief. I would say it doesn't have to be childhood, but most of the time our beliefs start from childhood. So go back to the earliest memory you have of where you took on this belief, and you need to work on rewiring that in your favor. And I will end with this. Your mind does not know the difference between reality and imagination. So why the hell are you not exploiting that to your advantage every single day? And with that, thank you for tuning in for today's episode, and I will see you next week for another episode of Thinking Out Loud.